What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for a brand new Madden 25 realistic rebuild of the LA Chargers. We have at minimum of 5, maximum of 10 seasons to figure it out here and bring the Chargers a Super Bowl. Now, this has been the most requested team in the comments because I have primarily been doing teams, bottom feeder teams that are picking the first top 10 picks, whereas the Chargers, you know, they were a contender. I think it's very fair to say they had a great revival under year one of the Harbaugh era. You got Justin Herbert, who's back and better than ever. You have arguably, if you're viewing it on a conversation of upside, highest ceiling, you can make an argument they're the highest ceiling tackle duo in the NFL. Joe Alt was an absolute slam dunk of a pick, but he was a for sure thing. I think he was one of the blue chip players of last year's class. They did a great decision making sure they picked him and not overthinking it. A lot of teams overthink, but you know it was a home run. Maybe their best pick was getting Ladd McConkey from Georgia. Ends his rookie campaign as an 83 star. I mean, just, hey, I'll put it this way. If we're playing pink slips, we're playing anything like that, I would have drafted Ladd McConkey if he existed in Madden. So I'm glad that the Chargers also did that. I've also had a sweet spot for the Chargers because they've always been a team that usually has the most Canadians in the NFL. You got Josh Palmer here at wide receiver 2, and I always have a little bit of bias towards Canadians in this. I try to keep them on the roster as long as I possibly can. So I'm looking at this wide receiver room. Yeah, you got Quentin Johnson, who kind of redeemed himself after a bust of a rookie campaign. But like this could very well be our long-term 3 wide receivers: Palmer, Ladd, and Quentin Johnson. Running back is kind of a question. I feel like both these guys are on rentals. J.K. Dobbins certainly, was in the comeback player of the year conversation. He looked like he was right back at Ohio State. But we definitely have a question about the long-term health of that running back room. Same goes with tight end. I know tight end and running back have kind of been the top 2 mock draft picks for this team, and there are great running backs and great tight ends in the 2025 draft. Arguably the 2 deepest positions on the offensive side of the ball. So that should work out very well for the Chargers when we get going here. Interior of the line is solid, could be better, but it comes down to the quarterback. Quarterbacks are as far as you're going to go, and Herbert kind of dumbed it down a little bit this year, it felt like. I equated to my Philadelphia Eagles, where, the team around him was good, and they were winning without him having to do Justin Herbert things, which we've seen, in his first 3 years, which is just you got to throw it. You got to throw it 40 times a game, or else we don't stand a chance. I love the fact that they're able to kind of rein that back a little bit, let other people make plays, and have Justin Herbert be an elite facilitator. And that's good. That's great. But I'll tell you, you're still going to need to put up bigger numbers than that if we have any expectations of going on and winning a Super Bowl. So I don't and haven't paid attention a lot to the Chargers as it relates to Madden. I don't know what we're getting ourselves into with this offense. So it'll be interesting to see how it comes together. But the defense, you always knew the defense was going to be pretty good for the Chargers. Harbaugh, even though it's you associate him with quarterback play, developing quarterbacks, and Andrew Luck at Stanford, and Colin Kaepernick, what he was able to get out of that 49ers team. It's always even with Harbaugh, it's defense. I always just associate good defense with a Jim Harbaugh-led team, and technically, the Chargers were the #1 defense in the league last year. You got Bosa and Mack. Now, I had a lot of people saying that if I do rebuild the Chargers, it seems like Bosa's kind of on the outs. You got Khalil Mack, who's flirting with retirement, so there could be a gigantic change here for this pass rushing duo. The front 3 is a little uninspiring. Poona Ford had a hell of a year, but, he's pretty much at his ceiling as far as development is concerned. And when you're going 5 years at minimum in the future, maximum of 10, I will say I'm slightly concerned about this defense as far as who for sure can we circle here that's going to be a staple of this defense. I'd like to think Henley could be that guy. You got Junior Colson at linebacker, Tui Pelotu at pass rush, maybe. You got Molden, Gilman at safety, maybe. Sante Samuel Jr. is going to be healthy. Tarheeb Steele was one of the great draft picks last year. He's coming off a rookie campaign as an 80. Now, there's no dev trade, which is kind of rough. But, he could be it. But there's still more questions and answers, I think, as it relates to this defense. And I think for this first offseason, the big question is Khalil Mack going to return? And do we trade Joey Bosa? Now, from a stats standpoint, we already kind of looked at Herbert. not brutal numbers. If you're not going to be lighting it up with yards and touchdowns, you better be sure your interceptions are low. And he absolutely was in that ballpark. J.K. Dobbins missed a bunch of time and still was flirting with 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. Gus Bus there was a decent option behind him. Receiving, Ladd McConkey just outrageous. Big-time player, 82 catches, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Add him to the list of very, very good and promising 2024 rookie wide receivers. 7 and 8 from Quentin Johnson. That's a hell of a bounce back year from year one where it was this guy was terrible and couldn't catch cold. You got Josh Palmer as a good role player there for sure, almost 600 yards and a touchdown. I think Will Dissly offered a surprising amount of production. Kind of felt like he was a flyer jumping over from the Seattle Seahawks. 50 catches, almost 500 yards, and 2 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, Henley went over 100 tackles, well into it with 7 TFLs. We got Derwin James, who was second team All-Pro, had a hell of a year as well, using him a little bit more as a blitz. I wonder though, depth chart wise, we should put Derwin at the slot, right? I'm not gonna shots fired because he's an incredible player. But the fact that they kind of pigeonholed him second team All-Pro at slot over my boy, the rookie Cooper DeJean, I took that personally a little bit. But he's an awesome player. Tui Pelotu actually led the team with 11 TFLs, 8.5 sacks, 6 sacks from Khalil Mack. Bosa is I've never seen Joey Bosa be good in Madden. We go back to, when he was from when he was a rookie, the Bosa brothers never produced in Madden. I've never seen Nick Bosa have a big year for the 49ers. I've never seen Joey Bosa have a big year for the Chargers in this game. Now, if you've had your own little Charger franchise and you'll be able to achieve that, what do you do? But Tui Pelotu probably needs to get on the field a little bit more. We got 4 picks. Tarheeb Steele for the rookie. Love seeing that. 3 for Molden. A couple singles. I mean, it's a really good defense. I feel comfortable in the fact that while I'm not sure about the long-term health of this defense, because some of our best players are a little bit older, I think they should still produce for the time being while we figure out the long-term picture and plan. And into the first wave of retirements, Khalil Mack is still here, which is awesome because he is an awesome player, and I would like to keep him around. So we come into the free agency period. $104 million. That's a great starting spot because there's plenty of players we need to talk about throwing contracts at. We got Bradley Bozeman, our starting center. I know he's their big player of the year, Walter Payton, whatever. So you know what? 1-year deal for you. Congratulations, sir. We don't have to get a center and deal with that this year. Fox was a starter. Probably could do a little better on the open market. We're being seen with Tier Tart. Oh, Jalen Rager, this is where he's at now. Wow, absolutely not. Next, got Christian Fulton at corner. Elijah Molden at safety. Got Khalil Mack, Poona Ford, Zion. Okay, we got a lot of names here. Okay, Josh Palmer up first. Canadian bias. Absolutely, 3-year deal. Don't worry about it. We then have Zion Johnson, 5th-year option. I'm going to decline that so we can get ahead and get into a long-term contract extension next season. I think Poona Ford was such a good player I think he was one of the highest graded D tackles in the league. Weird body type, he's a sub 6 foot tall nose tackle, kind of built like a bowling ball, but there's nothing wrong with that. Corner, I'm trying to think of our corners. Fulton's probably good enough to continue to start, especially only on a 2-year deal. Good for him too. Christian Fulton, I think he was the Titans. He was real good, a high regarded prospect when he was coming out of LSU. Cool that he's finally able to put it together. At safety, we have Molden, Derwin James, but if Derwin James is playing in the slot, which, I don't know if that's what we're going to do to get the best production out of him, we'd need Molden to play with Gilman at safety. I don't hate a 3-year deal. None of these guys are going to be breaking the bank, which is kind of good. So there we go. We'll get Molden back. I think we got to get Khalil Mack back on a rental. And then maybe find a trade partner for Bosa. If we can get Khalil Mack. 22 million. You're not taking 22 mil? Dude? I'm a franchise tag. Honestly, 26. I was offering him 22 and 26. Get some gist for the 1 year that I wanted him anyways. I'll take that $4 million difference as you know what? I'm not even going to think about it. Not even going to worry about it. J.K. Dobbins, if he was interested, I wouldn't have to overpay to bring him back. I think I'd be interested, but the fact that I will have to overpay, and that will luckily look closer to $25 million total, Don't think so. We have Asante Samuel Jr. at corner. Now a big fan. His dad was one of the best corners I've ever seen play for the Philadelphia Eagles. But we've already used our franchise tag, so we got to make sure that we can lock him down. But I think long-term, Asante Samuel, Tarheeb still, could be Fulton, potentially. I don't want to see him leave. So there we go. Lock that in. Got $30 million of cap and signed everybody. Kind of went on a spending spree here. So that's, hey, healthy situation for the Chargers to be. And going into free agency, I don't think there's necessarily a lot of holes that we're going to have to try to fill on this roster with this salary cap spot. So looking at what we could get for Joey Bosa, we get Ryan Ramczyk, who I'm pretty sure is retired from the Saints. We get a not great Patriot player. We get, I mean, I don't think that would happen. That kind of seems unrealistic if the Packers would trade their wide receiver one, a third, fifth, and seventh for a solid pass rusher. We got Mosley. Again, I don't really want to, I'd rather picks if we're getting in dealing with veterans. We have the Giants starting running back. Philadelphia Eagles offer us, they resigned Mekhi Becton, which is not usually a for sure thing. Mekhi Becton, a fourth and a seventh. Philly does need pass rush help. Edge likely will be the top priority for the Philadelphia Eagles. Guard is not. We got Max Melton here from the Cardinals. Now, I just used Mekhi Becton in my last rebuild, but I think that's a trade that could make sense. So, you know what? We'll do that. We'll take that one from Philly. I'm sure Joey Bosa is going to love Philadelphia. The nice little viral clip when the Eagles played the 49ers at home and Bosa went there and just got clowned on by Eagles fans. There you go. Enjoy that, buddy. And this is like a weird role free agency. Trey Smith's not usually there. Deebo Samuel is not usually there. Oh, Keenan. Just let him, like, do the right thing and let him finish his career out as a Charger. Like, he's just not going to play, unfortunately. If we bring him in, it's going to be a year less that we get to try and make Quentin Johnson a thing. Our team's needs, our biggest need, and we get, look, another former, did he play for the Chargers? I feel like he did. We need 3-4 defensive ends. We need 2 of them. So, I mean, they don't really exist, to be honest with you. We got Neville Gallimore, Canadian. Levi Onwuzurike, but already 27 years old. It's the hardest thing. They just don't exist in free agency. Good teams don't let good 3-4 defensive linemen hit the open market. We got to get at least... What's he looking for, a 1 year? Let's give Onwuzurike... Let's just get rentals here to be able to kick that can down the road. We'll give Onwuzurike 27.74 with the star dev. He could play 3-4 defensive end for us. We got Poona Ford at D-tackle. And then let's... I mean, Davenport could at 6'6", 285. I don't love that he's looking for a 2-year deal, but let's see if we can potentially... Because I know the draft classes. I know the draft classes in and out by now. There's not a lot of good 3-4 defensive ends. So I think the longer... And not to say that I want to cheese the draft classes until we get out of the realistic classes. Our first 3 years are realistic, and then we get to Madden-generated classes. But I'm probably not going to be able to find 3-4 defensive ends that I love until we get to the Madden-generated classes. So if we can get just serviceable play for the time being and let our edge rushers, let the ageless wonder Khalil Mack, Tui Tuipulotu is going to be starting now in place of Bosa. Let those guys be the guys that get after the quarterback and let these guys... just get TFLs and control the run game. Now, I'm going to be honest. A lot of rebuilds. I go in, and it's easier when I'm doing, like, the Giants, Jags, like, some of these teams that are picking top 5. Got a good idea of, like, who they're going to be selecting. When it comes to the Chargers at pick 22, I have no idea who I'm going to pick. A lot of times when I come to these rebuilds, I already know, like, I'm not going to say I make the thumbnail before I start the video, but I have an idea of what it's going to look like. I have an idea of what jersey swaps I may need to hit the internet for. I have no idea who I'm about to pick at 22. I have a couple players who could potentially be up for grabs. Unfortunately, one of our players went pick 14 there to the Colts. Colston Loveland, the Michigan tight end. Because I know the needs for the Chargers. The needs for the Chargers are tight end, We got Tyler Warren still on the board. I've used him. I think I've already used him like a couple times in rebuilds, but he'd be a great fit. We know, though, and we are waiting an updated draft class, which I've been told it's coming the next couple days. A refresher, so I think there'll be more respect put on. Tyler Ward's not particularly good in these classes. Let's just put it that way. He's like a 72 normal. But we need a tight end in the first round. I think the Chargers also need interior lineup. Even with the move to go get Mekhi Becton, you still got Tyler Booker here, who's a legitimate first-round guard. B pass block. We don't know what the run block is, but like, you know, you can make that selection and not hate it. At center, you got Monaheim. Could be available for a second-round pick, and I'm not gonna lie, I might even try to prioritize that because you can play a lot of different positions across the line. You have Ratledge from Georgia available. I think you also, again, 3-4 defensive ends. Do they exist? No, we got edge. Tyleik Williams, more of a nose tackle. Dayon Walker, more of a nose tackle. Edge, what do we got for edge that stands up? We got second-round players. I know what you're thinking. But this kind of makes sense. You can wait. Absolutely you can wait. I'm not defending drafting a running back in the first round. There's a lot of value. But in this situation, I think it comes down to, do we go Tyler Booker at guard or Ashton Jeanty at running back? It's a little bit fun to do something that's not Jeanty and the Cowboys related. Everybody and their dog has Ashton Jeanty going to the Cowboys. I did a rebuild with Ashton Jeanty going to the Cowboys a couple months ago. Why not, right? If there was a slam dunk pick at edge rush, at interior line, if Loveland was still on the board at tight end, I think I would make a play like that. I don't think in a real life scenario, when you have a deep running back class, if your team's not ready to just, like Philadelphia, if Saquon Barkley retired after winning the Super Bowl, which don't do that, if he did, like Jeanty would make a lot of sense to the Eagles in the first round because it's just that luxury pick. It's a luxury pick. Running back is a luxury pick. Do the Chargers have the luxury of drafting a running back? I think it's not terrible. It's not a terrible situation, but also they probably could go elsewhere. However, I am not going to discredit the fact that we just got the number 3 player in the class at 22. We got a generational player, a blue chip player, when the rest of the board wasn't really offering much. Now, I was skipping pick by pick because if Tyler Booker fell to the second round, I was going to go trade up and get him, but wasn't going past the Baltimore Ravens there. I'll tell you this. I know what happens. I know the role could be there. If Tyler Warren's available at pick 22 in the second round, I'll get him. Because then I could just hear. This is a video for. It's always a video for the fan base of the team that I'm doing. And if he is still there, oh, he's gone. God damn it. When did he go? Like, for some reason, here we go. The draft board hasn't been firing up. He went to the Saints. Okay. I mean, all right. Let's, we can pivot. We still got Mason Taylor. He's a legitimate tight end prospect. If we're looking at needs, I definitely think we can come back. I fully scouted Mitchell Evans, who's another baller from Notre Dame. But Mason Taylor, absolutely, we can pull that trigger there. Looking at O-line help, passing on Tyler Booker. We still have Jonah Monheim at center. Because we brought back Badley Bozeman on just a 1-year deal. So Monheim could make sense. Again, though, you're just like, all right, what do you want to improve the pass? I feel decent about the pass rush. We got a finesse move on Patrick Payton here out of Florida State. Decent enough combine. Like, is it too early? Like, are we just going to make the assumption that Climax here for one more year, then he's retiring? Because if that's the case, good look out. We got Jordan Birch, who's a 3-4 defensive end. Didn't get a great scouting report there. Kennard and David Bailey. I mean, do either one of these guys have freak combines? I feel like probably not. Cal Kennard, not a great kind of pedestrian combine. David Bailey, go watch our Stanford College Football 25 rebuild with Andrew Luck. Bailey was our premier pass rusher in that, and he is a freak athlete. I don't hate that selection. We're good in the secondary. We go back there, Mal. We got Winston, who's a baller at safety, but this is an interesting one. Do we go? I think we go tight end. I think this is the play. You got Mason Taylor, legacy player. 56 in true value at pick 54. It was very important we roll a dev trait there. That's exactly what we get. I'm going to overpay here. We got the Detroit Lions picking late in the second round. I'm trading our 3rd and 2/4 to get back up into the second round. Because if this was a Madden generated class, right? And I was like, I need a pass rusher. And we all know the drop off outside of the first round when you're looking for a pass rush help, it's never great. But if you tell me there's a second round speed rusher, I don't know the letter grades, but he has 4.47 speed. I'm going to be aggressive in getting him. So I think that's what we have here in David Bailey. Now, we almost, for what I gave to get him, I didn't love my board outside of this pick. That's why I felt fine giving up our 3rd and 2/4, because with those would have been absolute blind picks. At least with this blind pick, we know we're getting an S-tier athlete, and at worst, he's a project pass rusher that could be an understudy to Khalil Mack. At best, he rolls a dev trait, is twitched up, and could potentially be a successor. So a little bit of a reach as far as true value. 87 at 60. Not a gigantic discrepancy. Oh, we got the dev trait. Let's go. Oh, let's go! 87 acceleration, almost 90 speed on a pass rusher. Go watch that Stanford rebuild. If you haven't, hit that like button. So take a look at our draft recap as it finishes. Not too brutal down the stretch. Got a couple Michigan guys late. Miles Hinton at tackle. K.L. Mullings at running back. Tim Smith from Bama, 65. We got Gus Miller at center, 65. But the big hits, David Bailey, 71 hidden dev pass rusher. We got Mason Taylor at tight end, 73 with the hidden dev. And then a potentially polarizing selection. But I think as soon as he starts... Now. I said at the very beginning of this video, I'm not too sure how the Chargers sim. And if this is a team that running backs... I'm assuming a Harbaugh-led, Michigan-style offense-inspired Madden team is going to run the shit out of the football. And there should be big-time potential for Jeanty to, get 14, 15, double-digit touchdowns. Now, if this is an offense that, we've seen it. I mean, the last rebuild we did with the Jags, I don't think we had a running back go over 950 yards once in 6 seasons. If that's the case here, then this pick's going to be stupid. But if we are and can be a run team mixed in with Herbert and his elite arm talent, we could get something special here. Tell you right now, into training camp, David Bailey with an ugly, horrendous match of being a pass rusher and getting number 23. But I'm going to tell you what, this might be the fastest player I've ever done this drill with. It is... Oh, we don't even need that. We don't even need the extra ones because his finesse move and ability to get off pause is incredible. And obviously for Ashton Jeanty, we're like, all right, not only is your standard going to be you got to get a gold medal, but the not automatic goal, you got to get 100,000. 100,000, we got a 15 times a multiplier. He's out here breaking ankles. And the Chargers haven't seen a running back like this since you know who. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to make the comparison, but you know who. Rhymes with LaDainian Tomlinson. At the NFL debut, great matchup against the Raiders. Kind of flex your stuff. We got the Boise backfield. You got Matlock, the 300-pound fullback out of Boise State. Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. And it is just good night. I think we're gonna put up some pretty disgusting numbers here with Jeanty. Some play action. They're gonna sell out to make sure the rookie doesn't go off. Oh, we got Lad, and we're not just gonna placehold him as a slot wide receiver. You got more than enough speed on one of the outside. He's gonna be, and the plan is for me to develop him as an outside wide receiver 1, who can always move into the slot, kind of like a CeeDee Lamb. Not gonna lie, this is my first time ever playing with a Charger play. I like some of the concepts they have. You don't always see. Oh! And you still get a fair element of slants. Feels like there's a slant on every call I've seen in this playbook. I love that. I love the run formations, always utilizing a fullback. I hope they sim good. Come on, because they play pretty damn good. But man, oh man, the Raiders are selling out here. So we know Ashton Jeanty could run for 3,000 yards and almost challenge Barry Sanders' record. But can he run a C4 special? Oh, he had to make a guy miss. I mean, hey, when you got, I don't know what he has, 94 acceleration, like that, just elite burst, you can run the C4 special. And look at this, dude. We can line him up at slot. He's such a freaking weapon. Like, I think if you're not on board with this pick, let's break an ankle there, of Ashton Jeanty, you got to understand, like, what he's going to bring, not only as a running back, but as a safety net weapon. It's just another dimension to the passing offense to help Herbert. Not going to get a better debut than that. Look at that, dude. He's loving it. Ashton Jeanty, what a performance. And we start the season 1-0. And the offense is thriving. The defense was stout. And you can't ask for a better start for year one of this rebuild. But unfortunately, able to capitalize on the momentum that we gained week one. We lose to the Vikings. But I mean, they're a playoff. They were a, 14-win team a year ago. That's a tough draw. I mean, this is a tough stretch. Vikings, playoffs, Eagles, Chiefs, Steelers. Even the Steelers aren't going to be easy. But when we decline fifth-year options, as soon as I can negotiate contracts, I want to get that one out of the way. And that's exactly what we did with Zion Johnson. Look at the other players who are going to be set to be free agents. We got Bozeman's our starting center. We have Khalil Mack. We'll wait and see with him what he wants to do because there's no interest. Muzariki, we'll wait and see. Puna Ford, we'll wait and see. Regression could be a little bit harsh as he's about to be 30. But we have Zion Johnson here, who's gone up 2 overall points since we declined his fifth-year option. So that was a kick in the ass for him. He wants to stay here, which helps in contract negotiations. Let's go 5-year, 52.5. Not worried about it. For a very versatile lineman. We have Rashawn Slater at tackle. This is pretty much plug and play. Like, yeah, we're going to keep you around. You and Joe Alt are not going anywhere. Locked in. We got $80 million, and we can kind of wait and see for the rest of these guys on the defensive line. Holy! Potentially, we just thumped the defending Super Bowl champions 34-20 with a we did throw a pick, but a 4-touchdown, 400-yard performance out of Mr. Justin Ebert. So at the end of year number 1, this is not a rebuild in the sense that we got to build this thing from the ground up. We are taking over a team that just can't get over the hump, and we are trying to rebuild and fix the pieces that are lacking for them to get over said hump. We took over in 11-16. We're 12-5, so marginally getting a little bit better. Looking at our rankings, we have almost a top 10 offense. Passing yards a little bit low, but a top 10 rushing offense, and the defense that was elite last year is playing at an elite level again this season. Pretty excited to see what Ashton Jeanty did. For Justin Herbert, hey, 35 touchdowns. You will take that. I mean, now the interceptions are up. He had, 23 touchdowns, 3 picks last year. So up that to 35-12. I mean, 35 is good. Almost 4,000 yards is acceptable. But definitely want to shave off a couple picks here or there. Ashton Jeanty, almost 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns as a rookie. I'm going to assume Offensive Rookie of the Year should be the front runner. Ladd McConkey, 80 catches, 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. We're just under 1,000 for Josh Palmer, 9 touchdowns, 6-3 for Mason Taylor, 6-4 for Quentin Johnston. All right year across the board. Henley just under 100 total tackles, but he has 4 TFLs, 2 sacks, 4 picks, which he loved to see. The ageless wonder Khalil Mack, 14.5 sacks. We got 9.5 from Puna Ford, 7.5 from Tui Pelotu, 7.5 from Marcus Davenport. I've heard murmurs that this Chargers 3-4 defense is one of the best sims, and it's kind of looking like that. Whatever it's worth, Herbert does make the short list for MVP. Ashton Jeanty runs away with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Ooh, close, but no cigar. Ladd McConkey, runner-up for Wide Receiver of the Year. But he's on a star dev. I'm optimistic he'll get that superstar this offseason. I thought he'd catch him. Khalil Mack, runner-up for Linebacker of the Year as well. For the first round of the playoffs, we get the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that we just rebuilt. If you didn't go check that, go do that. We literally break the game at some point. No spoilers, but kind of spoilers. That's ahead of schedule. We did not make the playoffs. Year one with the Jags, so, good enough. It's a good team. But I'm going to say for the Chargers here, the whole thing is the theme. Can we get over the hump? And I think the perfect way to get over is playoff wins. I'm not saying we have to go win the Super Bowl here in year one. We got a minimum 5-year rebuild. But playoff success is stuff that just, it's in the franchise's DNA. Teams that are good in the playoffs are almost always good in the playoffs. Eagles, Chiefs, then the teams that are like always kind of there, like the Bills can always win the playoffs. The Ravens can always win to an extent in the playoffs. You know, when the Niners are not all banged with, the Niners can go on runs, right? The Chargers don't have that in their DNA. So I'm very happy, at least while we have home field advantage, we're able to steal here a little, you know, it wasn't an outstanding performance, but good enough. As Justin Herbert outduels Trevor Lawrence. We got 2 touchdowns, no picks. Jeanty with a touchdown in his first playoff game. Mason Taylor, the rookie, with 2 touchdowns in his playoff debut. We got a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage, which I love to see. A sack from Khalil Mack, a pick from Junior Colson, who we need him to continue to develop a little bit to become a clear linebacker number 2 next to Henley for us. But that is a big-time victory. And there, our focus. I mean, that's a great role to avoid the Ravens and Chiefs in the second round. We get the Steelers. I mean, it'll be an ugly game, but you need to feel pretty optimistic. Maybe not enough for me to not auto-upgrade some of my players here real quick. But you got to feel pretty optimistic that we can get past the Steelers and in year 1 feature in a championship game. It's a great role. We got none of the big dogs. Pittsburgh doesn't have a quarterback. That good defense could be low scoring, but look, that's exactly what we needed. 27-17. Year 1 of the... I didn't say, again, that I did this rebuild. I picked the Chargers because they were the most interesting, the most challenging rebuild. They were the most requested. So, you know, I wasn't expecting a particularly long turn. I love seeing that from Tui Pelotu. 2 sacks on the day, but now it is put up or shut up. Steelers-Jags is what it is. Now you got the Chiefs. Can you defeat the cheat code? Can you find a way to a Super Bowl through the hardest path? We got Still and Ford getting some upgrades there. Kansas City's, they're the final boss. You look at the rankings here, we do match up pretty well. And I would love to see this defense carry us to a title. But it is only year 1. We still have plenty of years, plenty of draft classes, plenty of player development to get there. And on the other side, the 49ers, Harbaugh's old team, are in the Super Bowl. Did we get there? We have a Player of the Week performance from Ashton Jeanty, the rookie. 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. But did we win? We are in the Super Bowl, year 1, ladies and gentlemen. It was tight. All of our games have been tight. When you have a great defense, you can rely on them to make play. And I don't know what we're going to do if we win the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously, we got still 5 more years to turn into a dynasty. Did not think we would hit the ground running this quickly. And I don't think, like, from a sim standpoint, anytime I'm rebuilding an AFC or an NFC team, I see that. I mean, the Chargers make the playoffs, you know, a consistent amount, but I don't think they go on deep runs consistently. But maybe it was the addition of Jeanty that brought this balance to this offense that makes it so impossible to stop. Ladd McConkey had a hell of a game. Defensively, got no sacks, got some TFLs. And now all we got to do, because we saw they lost Deebo Samuel. They let him walk. It's a little bit of a different Niners team. The Harbaugh Bowl, again, revenge. I mean, for me, this early in a rebuild, we just gonna grab front row seats, see what happens. The Niners are a lot better than us. They are further along in their rebuild. They went 15-2. They're an 89 overall team versus our 84 overall team. But you look at the rankings offensively, they get the number 2 offense, borderline top 5 defense. 4th passing, 3rd rushing, good God. But we can run the ball with the best of them. We can play defense with the best of them. Would be kind of cool. We've never had a Super Bowl appearance year 1 of any of these realistic rebuilds. Would be cool to win this and then know that years 2, 3, 4, and 5, maybe we can be aggressive. Maybe we can do weirder things because we already got that checkmark successful rebuild playing with house money. The downside, the other side, the opposite of that is we lose. And then, for whatever reason, we can't sim our way back to a Super Bowl. And it's just like, you know, we set the bar too high year 1, and we never fail to recapture that. I don't know. Because, hey, if you watch the Jags rebuild, we lose our coordinators, and our team magically sucks. We win the Super Bowl this year, we might have our coordinators poached, and then our team sucks for 4 more years. So there's a downside and upside. I think we get those front row seats, we watch this play out. It'd be cool if we win. Won't be the end of the world, I hope, if we don't. Because we still got plenty of time left to fix the Chargers and get them over the hump. I think something that a lot of people aren't maybe concerned about is that we know the Niners are better than what they were this year, right? Maybe we can pull back a little bit on the Brock Purdy hype and be like, oh, yeah, he's a game manager. It is what it is. But because the Niners are so bad this year, what were they? Were they 4th in their division? third in their division. Either way, they were bottom dwellers of their division. So that means they're going to get a bottom dweller schedule. So under the assumption that in 2025 the Niners are going to be healthy again and be a good team, maybe they're not an elite team, but they'll be a very good team, they're probably going to have one of the easiest schedules on paper. So I think the Niners going on a run next year, they have a very favorable schedule. Let's see what can happen here. Come on, baby. Opening drive, no points. Looks like this could be a low-scoring defensive battle. First blood goes to the 49ers. Love to see us battle, and we do. We get one back. And we bend, dot, break, 7-7, everything to play for in the second half. Niners charge and score a touchdown in their opening drive of the second half. But we march right back and say we can do that as well. But we are trading blows. Not a lot of defense being played here in the second half. And does kind of feel like first team to punt lost. And that was us. And they're going to go for it on 4th punch. They went for it on 4th and 1. Khalil Mack with a PBU. We have a minute 13. I'm not going to play this moment, but I think we do this play by play. We have a minute 13 to try and tie this game up and force overtime. We got a 5-yard run. I'd love to see Jeanty just break a 70-yarder to the house. Why are we running the football right there? This is horrific management. Now we're 15 yards. Okay, so there we go. That was shocking. With like under a minute to go, no timeouts. We have 2 runs. Ashton Jeanty to start the drive. That is absolutely disgusting. Terrible. I love the involvement of Jeanty. He's the feature. He's making the thumbnail of the video. How about with the Super Bowl on the line with no timeouts and under a minute? We don't start with 2 fucking runs. Damn. Now you just gotta sit here like Stephon Diggs. Watch them, watch the confetti fall. I mean, I'll tell you right now, that play calling was dog shit. I mean, Justin Herbert played well. 2 touchdowns, not a lot of offense. But, I mean, not a lot of offense on... I mean, they did throw the football a lot more than us. Our run game was non-existent. Sus play calling. Lad McConkey, I love, that's cool for him to get 2 touchdowns. Big moment. Our pass rush. I mean, if this is the end of Khalil Mack going out with a sack in the Super Bowl, kind of cool, even though I'd like to get that guy a ring. Is he a generational pass rusher? Is he a Hall of Fame? He's one of those guys that, like, I think at his peak, I think he's a Hall of Fame talent, but does he have, like, the stats and success to back it up? Don't know. Damn, what a... All right, hey, it's only year 1. We got minimum 4 more years. Let's try and figure this out. And maybe not 2 run plays on our fucking 5-yard... Oh, what was that about? And we planned for this. Khalil Mack retires after 12 years. A little bummed. I mean, again, just please, Madden. Like, there should be no reason why I can't select this and look at his player card one last time before he retires. So I can look at his final stats, see where he lines up. I'm a little annoyed because I want to see if he was... How close? He's probably at least 150 career sacks. But this is why we were very aggressive in last year's draft. Once we saw David Bailey, the hidden dev pass rusher to Stanford, to be like, well, let's make sure we get this guy because he looks like he's going to be a player for us. And, hey, right call. So as we clean out our lockers, this is where the team looks like going into next season. Mason Taylor, hidden dev, star dev. Justin Herbert keeps his superstar. Ashton Jeanty was a superstar at the box. Did not go up a dev trait for winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I think if he plays like he did, no concerns about him eventually reaching that X factor, that absolute game changer status. But what we did gain on the offensive side of the ball, which is awesome, which was needed, is Lad McConkey is now a superstar dev wide receiver. And he's only, again, I think another guy, much like Jeanty, inevitable that he will become an X factor for us and Keenan Allen 2.0, however you want to break it down. Go to the offseason, new center. Like, that's what we're going to need on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think it's going to be overly difficult, but it is still certainly a position we need to worry about. On the D-line, that's another spot. Of course, Davenport, who we gave the 2-year deal, loses his star dev. On Waziriki, we gave the 1 year, keeps his. Poona Ford, 78, so regressed 2 points. I don't think it's probably the smart decision to re-sign him at this given time. Everyone else, the corners keep their dev traits. We got Derwin James here, the 30-year-old. No crazy regression yet. Still holding on as an X factor. That's a win. We got Bailey and Tui Pelotu with their dev traits. Dion Henley up to a superstar dev, leading the heart of this defense. That is pretty cool. And hopefully Junior Colson will be the next dev trait player. But you know what? For Henley, we'll put the C on his chest. So with the retirement of Khalil Mack, it gives us, I mean, we have a considerable amount of salary cap here that I think Poona Ford coming back on a 1 year, even him coming back on a 1 year, knowing it's a 1 year rental, he likely won't get another one. I don't think that will change the draft if, say, there is a clear-cut nose tackle in the draft that's BPA for us, that we can still go draft him. I think Awu Zariki, we're definitely declining the 5th-year option on Quinn Johnson. I mean, the production. No. I think that's really where I want to. My focus scouting this year was D tackle, but D tackle more so for looking for a 3-4 defensive end than a nose tackle. I think that's gonna be our plan there, and we'll let everybody else walk. Almost $100 million made of a good free agency roll. We could be spenders here. Wow! I went after one free agent. He didn't even come. I went to Ryan Kelly on a 1 year. I offered more than New York, and he still picks the Giants. Wow. Hey. You want to join the defending AFC champions and you want to go to the worst ran team in the league? Be my guest. Idiot. Anthony Richardson. Team Anthony Richardson all the way. So it was the end of the draft. Our focus scouting was D tackle. My extra focus scouting, because center is a need. We looked at the first center on the board, Parker Brailsford from Alabama. He's a legit talent, and he could be available and should be available for us late in the first round. We need 3-4 defensive ends, so like size-wise, we're going to be out of the range for Keldrick Falk. Be a perfect fit. So I went Overton from Alabama, who's 6'5", 290 pounds. Not great value, but I mean, at pick 39, he is a second-round pick if you're going out the base ranking, and therefore kind of in line there. So that could be an interesting fit. I also looked at Ingram Dawkins, who's very much like Overton, like kind of, if it's the second round, they fit our scheme. But our focus scout, primary scout, was D-tackle, so we got all the information at our hands here. Woods, Corleone, who we just actually used in our Jags rebuild, was beast for us. They're going to be outside our race. Same with Hicks. We're going to be more so looking like Josh Farmer. Wouldn't be a terrible pick. We got good value here on Christian Miller from Georgia. Second, third round talent. Way down here, Demonic Williams from Oklahoma, formerly at TCU, is outstanding value. And he's kind of one of those guys, like if we miss out on those top targets, honestly, I might, Hicks here could be a guy. Let's look at the mock drafts. Are all those guys going to be off the board come time we try to pick? So Peter Woods is a top 5 pick. Corleone's top 5 pick. God damn it. Falk's top 10 pick. He'd probably be like my dream pick. Maybe we just, out of pure curiosity, see what the Bengals would want to drop down 20 spots. Highly unlikely. Hicks is going 15 to Denver. They're probably not going to want to trade with a divisional rival. God damn it. Farmer's going 23. That's a reach. You got Harmon. He's going at 24. That's a reach. Braille, I can't even get the center. Can't even get the secondary targets. This is brutal. Okay, we're going to have to move up here. I can't miss out on literally everybody. All right, so we're not going to be doing business with the Bengals. I will say, if we were going towards more of a rebuild, maybe. But still, 3? No, absolutely not. Even the Lions, if I wanted them to trade up to get the center. What? In what world? But we're frustratingly just going to stay at 31. I don't know what Grunkle Stan, Harbaugh did to piss off all these other teams. Okay, mock draft wasn't completely true. Still got Josh Farmer, who I did like 2 years ago at Florida State. Didn't really watch Florida State a bunch. I mean, who was watching? That was like terrorism football. Okay. Well, can't get our center. He's gone. Still need a center. And it looks like there's quite a drop-off here. A pass block on the man with the most illegal name going. A pass block, B run block. C, it's not bad. Man, we actually got a couple A's. Ooh, that's Jake Slaughter from my Florida Gators. Illegal name for sure, which we could fix. Might look at that. Might have a little Florida Gator bias there late. So if that's what we're going to do center, then all of our attention goes towards the defensive line. We still got Ingram Dawkins available. Second, third rounder has A power moves. I mean, he looks, I mean, that's, you know, that he won't be a bad pick. A D tackle. We got Josh Farmer, Christian Miller. Those are kind of the two. What do we got, Farmer? A power, C finesse. D tackle is really, really weird. But for 320 pounds, running a sub 5, the bench press at 35 looks pretty good. Christian Miller, a couple C's across the board. I mean, you could almost make the argument that, like, Farmer could play DN this year, and then you have him be nose tackle, and then maybe we double dip and go get Williams. I mean, he can also fill that role. We need multiple. So let's do it. Clock ticking. We're going to select Josh Farmer out of Florida State. Please have a dev trait. Our board got apps. I mean, we got to have a dev trait, please. Number 70 in true value at 31. Pretty big reach. He's a normal. Damn it. And in the second round, we still got Ingram. I mean, we trust our board here. You know? Two players that we scouted. We know they weren't slam dunk picks, but they should come in and be reasonable. Got number 64 in true value at 63. They should come in and be reasonable starters for this D-line with a lot of upside. And with Ingram Dawkins, we're getting the dev trait. Let's go. I'm panic picking. Screw it. I'm getting the three guys that look good on our board. We'll figure out the rest later. Demonic Williams, 78 in true value with 99 strength. Let's go. Lame. His name's illegal, but he has A pass blocking. I know he's damn good. He's first team all SEC center. Jake Slaughter with a dev trait. Hell yeah. All right, so looking at our draft class. Very frustrating drafts at the top because, you know, no one wanted to trade with us, unfortunately. Couldn't make Slaughter. Couldn't spell Slaughter. I mean, I guess I get it from the profanity filters. Usually if I'm doing an offline franchise, you can name whoever the hell you want. But because we're using like the start today starting point, I'm kind of at the mercy of always being connected to the EA servers. So instead of being Jake Slaughter, he's Jake Slaughter. Cole Slaughter, whatever you want to call him. 6'6" with the dev trait. He gonna start for us. Rest of the team, you know, we got some good solid depth. Good and bad news. Good news is we need to get younger on our front three. And we got three young players that have a lot of upside that could usher in that new era. The bad news is from a draft pick value standpoint. You know, we only have the one dev trait in Ingram Dawkins. Well, there's not a lot of difference between our first round pick and our third round pick. Very frustrated that we couldn't trade up in the draft, to be honest with you. But also getting 370 plus players. You know, I'm not going to complain about that. And Cole Slaughter. So we're at the midway point of year number 2, coming off year 1 where we go 12-5, won the division, went to the Super Bowl. We are 3-3 after an early bye week. And looking at like what is putting us here versus last year, gigantic. We're about 20 spots lower for our defensive grade. We do have the number 2 rushing defense, but that is definitely concerning. You look at the offense, Ashton Jeanty is killing it. Our points per game is top 5. I don't really care about where we rank passing yard wise. I don't care if Justin Herbert's a guy, you know, if he gets 3,500 yards or 4,500 yards. Really, for me, quarterbacks, I want to see touchdowns. If you go 3,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, I'll take that every day of the week over 4,300 yards, which might give us a top 12, top 10 passing yards, and then he has 27 touchdowns, something like that. The touchdowns are much more important to me, especially when we have a run game as good as we do. So, as we see, we have 13 touchdowns for Herbert in 6 games. Yeah, not brutal, not great, not brutal. Looking at the contracts, we have $130 million. We'll start Derwin James. I think it's just a guy, I don't think there's going to be much regression, if at all. We have Henley, who's been outstanding at middle linebacker. We'll give him a 5-year, $55 million deal. We have Tui Pelotu. I think he's developing nicely. I think there's a lot of upside there as well. So we're going to give him also a 5-year, $50 million. We give him 52.5. He declined it. I bet you we can get him like 55 is probably as much as I want to go. We should be able to get that signed. With Mekhi Becton, I love seeing that be a 3-year deal. Keep him till he's 30. Get him for the remainder of his prime. We are handing out a lot of money here. Look at the rest of the players just to be sure. I'll tell you what, we got to keep the fullback here. Absolutely an integral piece. The Boise State backfield ain't going nowhere. We have, Will Disley can go. Davenport's, he was a rental all along. Poona Ford, we drafted his successor. Christian Fulton, solid depth, but I did actually focus out corners this year. So I think we'll be able to draft a corner early. That can be his successor. Quentin Johnson, another player, we're like, that's just a pretty reasonable contract. All things considered, under $7 million for a guy that, what's his ceiling? 84, 85? Especially come like 2029, 2030 of that contract. Paying an 85 wide receiver, $6 million. So actually, we'll give him a 5-year as well. Just, again, locking these guys in for pretty much how long I think it's going to take us to maybe win a Super Bowl, even though we had a lot of success year one. Crashing back down and averaging out here this season at 3-3. But we'll definitely come back to the table for Tui Pelotu. I think his best football is still ahead of him. But everybody else, thank you for your service. This is your final year as a Charger. Now, we might be mixed bag this year at 5-4, but I'll tell you what. Lose to the Chiefs, close loss. Bounce back, kick the shit out of the Raiders, 52-13 with a 5-touchdown performance from Herbert. And look, again, passing yards not crazy, reflective of where our passing yards rank. But when you're getting 5 touchdowns on top of that, I'm all right with it. And in the clutch, late season, man, we're on a 2-game win streak. We got the Niners. We put a hurting on the Panthers, 42-17 with another 5-touchdown performance from Justin Herbert through the air. And we wrap the season up, the regular season up here, year number 2, week 18, against a 6-10 Seahawks team. Looking at the playoffs, already qualified, but we're going to have to run the gauntlet. So the end of year number 2, as it finishes, we go 11-6, which is the same record that the Chargers were when we took over this rebuild, a win less than we were last year. No divisional title as the Chiefs. We're dealing with the Chiefs. You're battling with the Chiefs. It's the AFC West. It's, in the next rebuild we might do. I don't know yet. It could be the Raiders. It's going to be more the Chiefs. Not looking forward to it. But look at our rankings. We finished with the number 2 points per game, the number 1 rushing offense, a almost top 10 in passing yards. Our defense shaved off about 5 points per game from where we were at the midseason. So Harbaugh got these guys playing right. Top 5 offense, top 5 defense. I'm going to feel pretty, look at that, Jeanty, 16, just behind Josh Jacobs. But Jeanty has been a absolute tank workhorse. Justin Herbert, 4,100 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 5 picks, 72% completion percentage. Hell yeah. Jeanty, incredible, man. It is, we took a little bit of a game. I literally said when I drafted him, I think this makes sense. I think it's the best value. I also think luxury pick, and maybe if there was other players available, maybe would have been a better investment for the Chargers. But I didn't know, and I have no idea what the Chargers sim was. This could have been in sim offense where Jeanty's getting 800 yards and 9 touchdowns, and we're just throwing the football with Justin Herbert. Well, we got him in a great scheme. It is working out immensely. Sky's the limit. It's almost, inevitable for when Ashton Jeanty's a 99 overall player. Got 97 overall with the boost. He's in his second year, taking the league over by storm the same way he did the college football world at Boise State. Ladd McConkey continues to dominate in the slot. 83 catches, 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns. Not quite the numbers we put up with Brian Thomas Jr. in our Jags rebuild. If you didn't see the Jags rebuild, go check that out. We literally were breaking the game. But those are still outstanding numbers for the second-year man out of Georgia. 9-9 from Palmer, 6-6 from Mason Taylor, almost 6-5 from Quentin Johnson. Jeanty with 300 yards at the backfield. That's a healthy room. It would be cool to get 2,000-yard receivers, but as long as we get Ladd eating, everyone else kind of fills their role as a role player, and Jeanty's running the football, I have zero complaints about the offense. Defensively, Henley and Colson, both tackle machines for us on the year. We got 13.5 sacks from David Bailey, the man we were very aggressive in trading back for in the draft a year ago out of Stanford. We got 8 sacks from Tui Pelotu, 5 from the rookie Tid, Tyron, Ingram, Dawkins, 4.5 from Josh Farmer, our first-round pick with 12 TFLs. Really, across the board, very happy with those numbers. Knowing that it's also a 3-4, we might be finding our favorite 3-4 sim defense. I'm going to be honest with you. Derwin James, who I have playing in the slot, 4 TFLs, 80 tackles, and 4 picks. Couple duos there. I'd say that was probably the only thing. If I had to slightly nitpick, I wish the interception numbers were a little bit higher. Justin Herbert finishes in the top 5 for MVP voting. He's going to get it eventually, but again, close but no cigar for Jeanty winning running back of the year. I love seeing that. Lad McConkey gets wide receiver of the year, and as a superstar dev, we should be cautiously optimistic that he will become an X factor this offseason. But we get a tough draw in the wildcard round. We have to run the gauntlet. We did not earn a first round bye, so that means you got to go on the road and try to beat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, 99 overall, the number 2 pass offense. He had 43 touchdowns, probably with his rushing yards, well over 5,000 total yards. But if there's a defense in the league that is going to give him a headache, it will be this Chargers defense that we have built. And nope. Top 5 defense allows 36 points on the road. Top 5 defense, everybody. Yeah, you know, brutal, dude. Absolutely, we got dominated. Jeanty can hold his head high. Passing offense was embarrassing. Oh, what a... Said this could happen last year. Went to the Super Bowl. Said it's going to be extra shit if we don't get back here for a minute. And weren't even close here in year 2. So the end of year number 2. No dev traits for Mr. Herbert, but both Ashton Jeanty and Lad McConkey are now superstar X factors. Mr. Slaughter is a star dev from the Hidden Dev. Great value considering he was projected to be a UDFA. On the defensive side of the ball, Derwin James maintains his X factor. Thought Bailey would have a chance to go up dev trade. He had a hell of a year, but unfortunately not the case. Ingram's Dawkins was hidden dev. Just a star. Still no dev trade roles here. Thought Tarheeb Still and or Elijah Molden have had the opportunities. Poona Ford loses his star dev, but we're about to let him hit free agency, so that was a kind of smart decision. So our D-line will we're going to put Demonic Williams. Get those front 3 that we drafted here this season. I mean, we're going in with almost $100 million of salary cap. I'm not really seeing, like, corner, right? We're going to let Fulton walk, but that's where I focus scouted for this upcoming draft. So I'd like to think that, like, corner, that will be the draft. Where else? I mean, we got depth at safety. You'd be like, all right, Derwin's kind of the old head here, but we have depth. So it's like, all right, that's not too bad. You look at the offense, like, we're good. To start the offseason, as always, if you're a good player, we're going to decline your 5th-year option, and we're going to have to give an absolute bag to lock in Joe Alt 4-year. I'm probably going to offer him, honestly, like a 6-year deal. So I focus go to the corners, and we got some great intel here on the top 3 at least. We have Jalen Mbakwe from Alabama. He's a top 5 talent, projected 17. We got Ellis Robinson from Georgia, 1st rounder. We have Zabin Brown from Alabama, 1st rounder. We need to find a way to secure the services of at least one of these guys. Looking at how the draft is breaking down, Mbakwe, I was kind of hoping would fall a little bit. Like, if he was in the teens, I think I'd be a lot more optimistic of trading up. Gotta be annoying that he's gonna likely come into the division, but that A-man, B-press, A-zone, an elite talent. Ellis Robinson's going at 11. Price would I feel like we're always likely going to be looking at the 3rd corner. And Zabin Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles at pick 19 right in front of us. I don't think it'll be, you know, I think we can get it. Plus, he's a great scheme fit. A-zone coverage, we're zone defense. And it's only going to cost us our 4th round pick this year to move up 1 spot. Good business. Thank you, Howie Roseman. So hopefully the mock draft stays true, which is it's not always the case. Let's see. Mbakwe goes at 6. Robinson is gone. Man, Arch Manning falling to 13. Jeremiah Smith falling to 9. Colin Simmons falling to 14. A lot of surprising falls here. But for us, ultimately very happy with where we're at because that is going to allow us to select Zabian Brown. The corner, zone corner from Alabama. B catching, C-man, D-press, A-zone coverage, rated a 4.42, elite acceleration. 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, all checks out. We know he's a legitimate first-round talent, and that should mean a decent level of confidence that for us, he's going to be able to start and make an impact right away as a rookie. He's going to be our 3rd corner on the team. And he's number 20 in true value, getting him at pick 19. And we roll the dev trait. So I have no idea. Second round pick, that's usually still, you know, a big time investment. And looking at who's going to be out of contract. McConkey and Joe Alt are getting contracts 1,000%. Josh Palmer, I don't know. We're going to be testing my Canadian bias. Probably bringing him in again. Tari Steele, depending on the price. I mean, we got a lot of money. Safety, got Colson at linebacker. I'd say safety, corner, middle linebacker. Wouldn't hate to get depth there just in case the salary cap gets a little tight. But we are in blind pick territory here at pick 20 in the second round. Looking at the safeties that we got, we have Coy Perch from Minnesota. He has B-zone coverage. C-man. That's the athletic traits here. Not bad, honestly. I'm interested. At strong safety, we have Jelani McDonald, who has B-man B-zone from Texas. He's a damn good okay, there's the clubhouse leader right there for who we might want to be picking. Off-ball linebacker. You got Averell Reese from Ohio State. A-hit power. Not particularly the style we like to look for. Looking quickly at wide receiver. We have Jonte Cook, who has D catching. Ugh. All right, we're going to grab the safety. Get a little insurance there. Plus, honestly, 6'2", 210 could be a little bit of an understudy for Derwin James, Jelani McDonald. Longhorns, 44 in true value, getting at 52. No dev trait. Stings a little bit, but I think, hey, it's a good pick, good player. All right, I'm going to bite. We got the Michigan tie here. Third round pick, Samaj Morgan, 5'10", 180. Fastest wide receiver in the class. Probably was recruited by Harbaugh, one of his last recruits. It gives us a little bit of insurance in case. Not a great pick. So late round pick at a highlight, because if you're using these classes, you might sleep on. Look at this. Day 3 from Georgia, Gabe Harris Jr., 6'4", 260. B-zone, couple C's, but 6'4", 260. Ran a 4.47 at his pro day. I don't know if this is a diamond in a rough or just like a weird... Oh, yeah, it's just an athlete. 353 in true value, but he does have a dev trait. Okay. Hell yeah. We're going to stay with the freaks. 6'5" out of Minnesota, Malachi Coleman, B release. Key ratings are dog shit, but he ran a 4.38 at his pro day. 38-inch vertical at 6'5". Falling down the draft boards. Don't know if he got caught with the old mask, you know. Laramie Tunsil mask, 160. That's a big-time athlete. I'll take that value. So today, look at our draft recap. I feel pretty good about this class. Definitely a step up from an athletic trait standpoint. That is and was kind of a parameter for us. We got a 74 normal dev punter in the 7th round out of Eastern Illinois. Coleman, big-time athlete. Morgan, big-time athlete. Get the dev trait on Gabe Harris Jr., but only a 62 overall. So quite a significant path for him to continue to develop. Just a big-time athlete. We'll wait and see. Actually, he's going to play middle linebacker for us. I mean, we could also develop him as a pass rusher, but I want to kick him inside the middle linebacker just because Junior Colson out of contract. He could, there's no dev trait there. So he could be pricey and price himself out depending on how free agency goes. So let's get this guy playing off ball. Loses even more of a rating, god damn it. Jelani McDonald, 73 normal dev. Going to be an understudy for Derwin James. And the big get, though, is Xavier Brown, 75 with the hidden dev trade out of Alabama. Day 1 starter for us in the slot. So number 3, we're on a 2-game win streak, but we started the season 0-2, which is never what you want to do. Tough schedule, though. Like, we're constantly playing playoff caliber schedules. I mean, that's an excuse. But it's certainly a valid excuse when you're not starting the season off incredibly hot. We have $84 million. We've been very conscientious of our salary cap. So that years like this, where there is multiple players we want to re-sign, we have our options open. Lad McConkey at wide receiver. Easy decision to lock him up. I think we go 5. 168. I mean, he's 99 overall potential. No ifs or buts about it. I think same goes for Joe Alt. Then we look at a 5-year, $120 million. And the fact that now we have Joe Alt, Justin Herbert, and we're going to probably have to negotiate Herbert's contract coming up soon, maybe next year after that. But Alt, Herbert, and McConkey, Derwin James get a big payday. Got a pretty expensive roster, all things considered. We got Tarheeb still at corner. I don't think that's brutal money for a guy that probably still has some of his best football ahead of him, so we'll pay him. But unfortunately, you look at Coulson, you look at the Canadian Josh Palmer, I don't think it warrants it. As much as it pains me, and it feels anti-Canadian to not re-sign Josh Palmer. He's a solid like 800 to 900 yards. He's never going to be in this offense. Will always run through Ashton Jeanty and Lad McConkey, and that's $33 million. We got an expensive roster. We got to make tough calls. Oh, so the end of year 3. I mean, this is maybe just what we are. I'd like to think our team, as we grow and develop, will be able to break past this glass ceiling of 11-6. But when you look at the team, the makeup is still pretty much the same. We play good defense. We run the football about as good as any other team in the NFL. We have outstanding quarterback play, even though I'm looking at those numbers. It ain't a 40 bomb for Justin Herbert, which is, he's at that age where, like, magically he might start just slowing down a little bit. He's getting close to 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, 9 picks. That's not necessarily a quarterback that will carry you to a Super Bowl. All we need, I guess, is for him to get hot during this playoff run. Ashton Jeanty was incredible, 1,600 yards and 22 touchdowns. Offense rolls through him. If we're going to give Herbert at least credit, we'll say he had 32 total touchdowns and 4,000 yards. So, I mean, that's bare minimum, bottom of the basement for me to not be concerned. Receiving, Lad McConkey continues to crush it, 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6-3 Mason Taylor, 5-3 for Josh Palmer. 4-2 for Quentin Johnson, 4-2 for Ashton Jeanty, who might have some MVP votes this season. Coulson leads the team in tackles, of course, as we're going to let him hit the open market. 15 sacks from David Bailey. What a pass rusher he has developed into, and an expensive one at that when it comes time to negotiate a contract. We had 8 sacks from Tui Pelotu, 8 sacks from Ingram Dawkins, 5.5 on 17 TFLs from Josh Farmer. So really happy with those numbers across the board. Derwin James with 3 picks. Couple duo there for Asante and Still. They just hate running backs. Cool. Jeanty, runner-up Offensive Player of the Year behind Jamar Chase. David Bailey, runner-up Defensive Player of the Year behind Greg Rousseau. But for their individual awards, both Ashton Jeanty and David Bailey win running back and linebacker of the year. David Bailey on a star dev. This should get him and bank him a superstar dev increase this offseason. All right, playoffs. We don't have the Baltimore Ravens. We didn't roll the Kansas City Chiefs. The Houston Texans, not a bad team, but this is not a death sentence for a first roll, even though they have a very good offense across the board. #1 rushing defense as they look to stop Ashton Jeanty. Got to remind ourselves, 2 years ago, this Chargers team, was in the Super Bowl, and since then it has been all downhill. God damn it. 28-24, we fall to the Houston Texans. And here I thought this was going to be an easy rebuild where we could bank a Super Bowl, get that check mark early. No fault of Justin Herbert. That is outstanding play. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. For the #1 rushing defense, 76 yards for Jeanty's not an L. Ladd had a good game. Josh Palmer's final game as a Charger, not too shabby. Defensively, though, just not enough plays. We made 2 total TFLs, no sacks, no picks for one of the best defenses in the league. Unacceptable. The first piece of business to end of the regular season as we're cleaning out our lockers. Get a skill point here for Ashton Jeanty, who now is officially a part of the Madden 99 club. I thought there was a chance. I'm glad. I don't even want to speak in existence because it could still happen next year, that Justin Herbert would lose that superstar due to age regression, natural regression, and the fact that he didn't have a great season by his standards. But still, luckily, a superstar 99. Jeanty 99. I think inevitable early next season. Lad McConkey will be a 99. Slater, Alt should be 99 soon. And we have one good playoff run. Defensively, Derwin James keeps his dev trait. Both Bailey and Tui Pelotu, our edge rushers, get dev trait increases. Josh Farmer goes from normal up to a star dev. Brown, our rookie out of Alabama, hidden dev, just a star dev. Elijah Molden finally pops from normal up to a star dev. Okay, like that. I mean, didn't show up whatsoever in the playoff game, but developments are nice, and I'm now getting increasingly worried how much David Bailey's going to cost to re-sign, because we don't get the 5th-year option from him. He was a second-round pick, and our salary cap's getting a little tight. Oh, boy. It's starting. I'd say what, 2 of the last 4 or 5 rebuilds, we'll say 4 to make it a round number, 50% of the time over the last month when we have lost coordinators, be it, and it's usually been more so on the offensive side, but our defensive unit has been elite outside of the playoff game. It has been not great with what we have to deal with. And look at that, we just got, I mean, at least we got schematic. Jackson Pierce, we run that 3-4, so we'll bring him in. But man, oh man, hopefully our defense doesn't suck next year. So, 5th year option, running back Ashton Jeanty, we're going to decline that. Even though, I mean, for $12 million bucks, you feel pretty decent about that. But let's just get his contract figured out. And unfortunately, we are going to say goodbye to Josh Palmer and Junior Colson. And I think it's going to be smart to, I mean, of course, Bolden just goes up a dev trade, but I think it's going to be smart. And I think when we can hopefully afford David Bailey, we're going to look back at this moment and be like, all right, we did the right decision. I think the same thinking goes into how we approach free agency here. There's actually some really, really interesting names available, but we're not signing our own talent, let alone hitting the open market. That is to keep this roster together. So we're going to roll over that $50 million so that things are a little easier come next season. With what we lost in free agency, wide receiver and inside linebacker, even with the developmental linebacker that we grabbed last year out of Georgia, those would be our big positions of need. I thought we did a good job getting McDonald the safety from Texas because with the loss of Molden, just, it keeps our depth there in the safety room. Even though we got, these couple decent options here. We got B coverage here on Harold Wilkinson. We feel pretty good about our corner, but as far as like off-ball linebackers, I'm pretty decent at blind picking them. You know me. I like to go and look at the coverage. And look at this guy. LaMontagne, 3rd, 4th rounder, has A-man. We got A-zone on Dwayne Campbell out of Washington State. We have A-zone way down here on Carl Edwards. So I think when we get into the weeds of it, we'll be able to find a decent linebacker. We'll also value the combine. But the position that I did focus is we got to replace Josh Palmer. Wide receivers. I didn't necessarily do the best job finding wide receivers last year. And what we were able to do is scout some of the big dogs here. Didn't get great information. But the first 2 guys look pretty legit. Tyreek Fisher, 6'3", 225 out of Notre Dame. And then we got Trent Gibbons, your burner. And Fisher does look, I mean, for his profile, all C's, but you got elite strength, and he ran 4.35 at 6'3", 225. So that dude's a beast. Unfortunately, though, we didn't have the perfect scouting to line up, but we got some value. We sure as shit got some value. James Branch, day 3, is a 2nd, 3rd round talent. He had A catching. That's the only thing that stood out to him. Same with Mr. Claiborne, who had A catch in traffic and B short route running. He had some of the best in all those categories. Saw him as a UDFA, and there's absolute value there. So I think that, we'll be able to get Claiborne, maybe add up to 3 really talented wide receivers, depending on how these guys here fall in the first round. Wide receiver and corner, probably the 2 easiest positions to scout because you get so much information. And if you don't have the letter grades to back it up, a lot of times just go with the athlete. So in the first round of pick 22, honestly, I will still... Givens goes. And Fisher. Of course. Now I got a blind pick, my first round pick. For fuck's sakes. We're going to go BPA. We got JT Atkins at tight end. Is Mason Taylor going to get a second contract? Probably not, and that is going to be coming up. So this guy looks very, very good. I think I'm going to go with this linebacker, Stephon Perry. 2nd, 3rd round. He has A pursuit, A zone coverage, elite jumping. Man, I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to fake sell myself on that being the right choice. We don't really need a corner, but oh my God, we got an A zone corner. 2 of them. B-man, B's. We're truly trying to practice what we preach and go BPA here. Oh, elite speed for Luke Russell. We got Mr. Irving. A-zone. Wait, does this Russell guy have elite speed and B-man B-zone? All right, that's going to have to be our guy. B-zone B. He's just literally not bad at anything, and he has... But then we have Asante Sam. We're fine. I hate those mother... You-know-whats. that drafted both the goddamn wide receivers right before I picked is pissing me the hell off. Dude, this is okay. One lot. We're doing this lot because you might look at it in hindsight every time I do a draft, do a good draft. It's like, oh my god, how does he always make the right call? This one here. Okay, so Jeanty's gonna get paid. Bailey's gonna get paid. So what positions? We have Taylor at tight end, so that tight end pick would make sense because then we just wouldn't have to worry about paying Mason Taylor, which he probably couldn't anyways. We have Gilman at safety, so getting cheaper at safety could also help. Those are really the two picks. And I think the tight end was the best available, even though it makes no sense because, I mean, tight end's not a huge factor of our offense. But if we're thinking about this from a pure salary cap standpoint, I believe J.T. Atkins is the smart decision. Panic pick. Please be good. Maybe he's not. Number 17 in true value at 22, and we roll a dev trait. 90 acceleration on a 6'6 tight end. Pretty damn good. Next up, rare. These used to grow on trees in last year's Madden. This year it's a little different, but we got a true nose tackle in Melvin McNair out of Florida. A power, A tackle, 354 pounds. Now, it doesn't have, it says he has elite, but a lot of times you can see these guys, when they do generate, they have like 46, 45, 46, 47 reps on the bench press. But, Demonic Williams, all-team first name, but doesn't have a dev trait, so limited ceiling. And if McNair does have a dev trait, gives us a little bit more upside at nose tackle. I think it's time to stop messing around. Grab the players that we have fully scouted. We have James Branch up first, a slot wide receiver with A catching traffic. Number 56 in true value at 86. However, no dev trait. Womp womp. Now it's time to cash in on the value of all value in Chauncey Claiborne, slot wide receiver. A catching traffic, only B catching. Honestly surprised that he's even this highly rated. I'm going to guess probably another decent rating. No dev trait, but number 31. So technically definitely legitimate first round pick. And we roll a dev trait, 94 acceleration and 91 agility for the Beaver. So look at the draft recap. Ooh, yeah. Linebacker, we gotta, if we would have been able to find a linebacker on top of what we were able to get, I think it would have been a little bit more, a perfect class. But outside of that, we needed wide receiver, and we added 73 normal and 74 hidden dev off of our scouting. And that is on top of the fact that we got absolutely robbed in the first round with pick 20 and 21 being the two first-round wide receivers that look really good. We got J.T. Atkins, who will be a successor for Mason Taylor, who we're just not in a, not only like a roster standpoint, but tight ends have been role players on our offense. They play a part, but they're not heavily featured. So I don't think it's ever going to be worth the Chargers to pay a premium price for a tight end, salary cap-wise. But you can get by when you pay a premium draft investment. Melvin McNair, nose tackle, 73 with a dev trait. Also, very, very nice fit. But now, just out of pure curiosity, knowing that we got, the best RO wide receivers, a 74 hidden dev as an 81 tackle. What are the ratings? So given 75, Fisher 74. I think all things equal, I would have drafted Fisher first because he's 6'3 with 92 speed, 97 spectacular catch. But I'm hoping on both these wide receivers, the dev trait is at best a star dev. Because if not, I'm going to be upset that I didn't, potentially try to trade up. So only a star there. And Mr. Givens, the burner, out of Florida State, does have a dev trait. 98 acceleration, just ridiculous burst. Agility, dangerous, yards after catch. Finally, a wide receiver 2 compliment to George Pickens there in Pittsburgh. And it's only a startup, so it's not the end of the world. So here we are, year 4 as our team. I think it's unfortunate, but our team's in purgatory. We are kind of in the holding pattern that teams right now in the AFC are in. Where it's no matter how good your team is, no matter how good your quarterback is, no matter how much you're in your team's prime window, you just have the Chiefs and Mahomes, and it sucks that you exist at the same time that exists. Luckily, it hasn't been Chiefs dominance, but I kind of feel the same way about our team. We're just we've been killing it in the regular season. All of our numbers are checking out for the most part. I mean, Justin Herbert last year was a little bit on the lower side, and hopefully that's not a trend here today in this year, in year 4. But generally speaking, we've had good quarterback play, elite run play. Our receivers have developed. Our O-line, on paper, is maybe the best offensive line in the league with the 2 best tackles in the league. Defensively, for the most part, we've been in an elite defensive unit, now with a new defensive coordinator, so we'll kind of key in on that a little bit. But there's no weakness on this team. I can't find, even a middle linebacker, what we are doing. Harris, unfortunately, lost his dev trait. We're going to have McDonald play a little bit of linebacker. We're going to have Derwin James stay at safety, and we're going to rely on Steele to play in that nickel spot. So kind of moving things around here on the defensive side of the ball. But I think there is not a single weakness with this team. And I've kind of felt that way since year one when we went on the Super Bowl run. Yet we have 2 straight years of one and done in the playoffs. And I'm not 100% sure what I can do right now to get this team over the hump other than just hoping we get hot. Not a bad starting number 4. Perfect start. 3-0. Very happy with that. But because we declined the 5th-year option on Mr. Jeanty, let's get... Oh, he doesn't even want it. Oh, no. Oh, $200 million. No way. We have not spent any money. And, like, we still don't have that much salary. We're not going to be able to get both of them, I don't think. Gotta pay Jeanty. Absolutely have to. I don't know what the money's going to have to be for that to line up. 5-year 87, he declines. It could be upwards to 90. And then David Bailey's just... The only thing this might make sense is we get Jeanty, and then we get a little bit of extra salary cap room in the offseason, but then that is still shaping ourselves up to, like, our salary. We're going to be in salary cap hell. We actually took $93.5 million for Jeanty, but he's been the best running back in the league. I know. If there was no names, there was no Ashton Jeanty, there was no David Bailey. It was just, do we pay a running back? Do we pay our edge rusher? We're paying the edge rusher. It is close. That's kind of only good news. It is close. It's not impossible to make this work. It's still insane though. Like, you know, just look at how it's broken down. The salary is so low, but the bonus is insane. We'll see. We'll see what we can do this offseason. Oh, kind of Control-C, Control-V in a way, record-wise. We go 12-5. And kind of what I said at the top, which is dealing with the Chiefs. Almost any other year, we'd be running away with division, have multiple divisional titles. We still only have 1 divisional title. You're looking at the offense, top 10 offense, you know, passing yards in line with where they've been. We have the number 1 rushing offense. Defensively, oh, man, the goddamn coordinators. It has to be something. I'm almost seeing enough proof that when your coordinators get poached, they are complete dog shit the next season. Now, maybe it's just growing pains or some sort of RNG that, like, year 1 of a new coordinator is going to suck, but then maybe they'll settle in a little bit. But, man, oh, man, like, we just pretty much added 10 to all of our defensive rankings down the board, which is very frustrating. But take a look at our stats. Justin Herbert back up after a little bit of a low year, almost 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 7 picks. Pretty good. Jeanty, 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns. There's a reason why we had to pay him. He is that damn good. Receiving, Ladd McConkey continues to just absolutely dominate. 89 catches, 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. 778 and 5 from Mason Taylor, but to become a free agent. Johnson was a decent role player. And the rookie Claiborne, 555 and 5 for our UDFA grade hidden dev, which unveiled as a star. What about the tight end, too? I don't know if he would have played enough reps. Got involved a little bit. Ain't too bad. Michigan man. Actually, I never even commented on that. Michigan man. Harbaugh knows what's up. He's only a star dev, but big opportunity for him next season as our starting tight end. The defense that took a massive step back. Henley, okay, the tackles are on point. Our sacks fell off a freaking cliff. And just like that, David Bailey looking for a $200 million contract. That is so, like, wow. Interceptions up a little bit. Tarheeb still thriving. First year as our slot corner with 5 picks. Derwin James with 3. But why, you know? Okay, we know why our defense isn't as good. Our sack numbers are like half what they were with our coordinator last year. Why it's like that? Don't know. Early award winner this year was Ashton Jeanty, who got another running back of the year title, but I will give shout out to Tarheeb Still, who is runner-up for DB of the year. Now, I don't want to put any pressure on this team, and usually in my rebuilds, I get decently lucky that when the pressure's on, I find a way to win a Super Bowl. But our roster, with how it's constructed, you're already seeing, we're at that point maybe a little bit earlier than we would like to be, where we have to pick and choose star players that we can't bring back And right now, it's not looking good for Bailey. So you almost need to view this year with our 88 over. Like, we got to go on the run. What better time than now to win this Super Bowl? Because next year's team's going to look drastically different. Okay. 45-10 just beat the shit out of the Texans. And it's, of course, the $200 million man, David Bailey, with a hat trick of sacks. And Lamar Jackson just also casually had 540 yards and 7 touchdowns. Oh, please don't say we're playing the Ravens. Okay. What the hell happened in this game? Double overtime. 6 touchdowns for Mahomes. 7. Hey, at least it's not the Chiefs. And we got, the Bengals, they put up a lot of points. I mean, we looked impressed. We made 45-10. 4 touchdowns for Justin Ebert. Almost 100 and a tutty for Jeanty. Ladd went off. Got the sacks. Got the pick. Playing good football. So at least we broke the streak of 2 straight years of being 1 and done in the playoffs. Up next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals with the number 2 offense, number 1 passing offense, and a very good rush defense. We'll show them respect by upgrading our players and making sure we put the best team, best lineup possible out there. It's only backups, so probably won't have a huge influence on this matchup, but I think with how the teams are, I mean, they're good too. They're an 89 overall team. And we still can't get over the hump. Much like the Ravens. Thought that they cakewalk to the Super Bowl. I thought we'd at least get to the championship game. We fall 27-24. Like, fuck it, what? Herbert? That's why we lost. Those we leave with more questions than answers on the season. Dev traits-wise, offensively, we're in a decent spot. Atkins is going to slide in as our starting tight end next year. And, everyone else is going to run it back. So the offense is going to be in place. Defensively, where we have the big change is David Bailey. Maybe we could pay him, but probably can't. McNair's hidden dev, just a star. I don't know how Steele didn't get a dev trade increase. He was DB of the year runner-up on a normal. Very weird. Sus, even. Our salary cap did go up to $46 million. We're going to decline the 5th-year option on Farmer. I mean, we're in a spot that we can afford to... we can replace the kick. We can afford to offer Bailey a contract. Seven-year, 258. Oh, I can't... What? You don't have the salary cap. I beg to disagree. What do you mean? 11 million. Wait a minute, can I franchise tag him? Yes, we can. This is very much a rebuild now that I can't sign free agents. I'm battling to keep my own players in. We're just going to have to continue to draft like an absolute monster. All right, so we're going to the draft, and this is going to be a draft where... yeah, we have kind of needs, but ultimately I just looked at everybody that's set to be a free agent next year, and if we can find a replacement, that's kind of where we're at. I focus scouted a couple D tackles because we have honestly, all 3 of those guys that we brought in, Ingram, Dawkins, Demonic Williams, and Farmer, are all set to become free agents. And, of course, I didn't think that Middleton would still be there, but I look at Weber. Now he's 375 pounds, B-power A tackle, and dude, he has elite acceleration. We already drafted a nose tackle, but I don't care. Like a 3-4 front, I could probably make that work. But that's not a good investment here in the first round. But I need probably multiple D linemen. We also need to look at linebacker. Linebacker's always a little bit of a need. This is more so like finding a starter. And, unfortunately not like a great role in particular. Yeah, there's just... We're kind of just letting the clock run down here, but like man zone. I mean, Von Albert has A pursuit, B zone coverage, but look, he's like, what, a third-round pick? Fourth round pick, 98. Center, Slaughter is said to be a free agent. Of course, no one there to pick. We need guard because Mekhi Becton is about to be a free agent. We have Randy Harold, who has no A's in his base stats. I'll tell you right now, that guy looks great. Right guard, nope, no A's. Corner is another one. Asante Samuel Jr. is said to be a free agent. And I did scout Marcus Rhodes because he had the A zone coverage, which is a scheme fit. But you have Shelton Johnson, who is A and B. But I think we just trust our scouting here. I didn't think Rhodes was for sure going to be available. It's right on that cusp. And he's number 7 in true value. I'm very curious what that other corner is. But we're happy that we got ourselves a scheme fit and a, we don't have to, unfortunately, I mean, it's end of an era likely for him, but we have a Sunday Samuel cover. All right, well, we trust our board. It's unique body type, unique build, but Danny Weber, anytime you're 374 pounds and you have elite acceleration, you're probably going to be an absolute monster. And he's number 15 in true value at pick 60. No dev trait on a 375-pound, 97 strength, 88 acceleration alien. Okay, sure, game. Linebacker, go with the athlete over letter grades. A Khalil Polk, 44 in true value, pick 92. No dev trait as well. And honestly, not even that good of an athlete for the traits. But good rating, so I mean, he'll probably be like, 74, 75 maybe if we're lucky. Just BPA, we got another corner here. B-zone coverage, so he's a scheme fit. He also ran the fastest 40-yard time at the Combine. So that is ticking off a lot of blind pick boxes. And Glenn Mixon is a top 100 player in true value, but another no dev trade player. UDFA with a pass block. Terrible Combine. We'll just see. Can we get an ultimate blind pick here? No, he's... So, draft recap on a draft that we could just call the replacements draft. Yeah, I mean, not too often I whiff on a kicker. I thought he was going to be pretty good. Mixon, 69, not bad. Polk, 73, not bad. Danny Weber, normal to have 75. He's got to get on the field sooner or later, but at least we get a home run here. And Marcus Rhodes, 77 with a dev trade. Now, out of curiosity, we did pass on a corner with more well-rounded stats. And I'm curious as to what the rating was. So we got Rhodes and then Johnson. So we took a 77 hidden dev, and Shelton Johnson would have been the other option. One rating less, and as long as he's a star dev, then we know we're playing with house money. If it's superstar, that's a kick in the nads. It's only a star, so I don't hate it. I can live with it. So my point of view number 5, and the trend from last season, unfortunately, has kind of continued. We're 4-3, which is first place in the West. Head of Kansas City, who's not having a particularly great year. But the defense, man, offense firing on all cylinders. Maybe the best we've seen Justin Herbert. Defense, we lost our coordinator and our team's falling apart. Like, why is that a common thread? Let's look at our contracts here. Then maybe from that we'll pivot into what we need to focus scout. $130 million. Now, certain players, we have gone on and got the replacements, and that is how we need to treat these contract negotiations as such. Like Derwin James, in a perfect world, keep him till he retires. But the reality is he's going to regress fairly heavily. Like, we're almost at that point where he's just got to lose a dev trait because he's old. So that needs to be considered. Williams, we have a replacement. We didn't replace Becton, but usually I can draft guards. We have Slaughter at center, Ingrams, Dawkins, Farmer, Asante Samuel. So Justin Herbert up first. Get this one out of the books. Yeah, keep him to his 34. On the fence! Okay, we'll come back. We can't negotiate anything else until we get him kind of locked in. David Bailey. Again, just, okay, guys just don't want to be rich. So we... Farmer. Okay, we got Farmer locked in. Got more than enough to get Bailey, Herbert. We have we have his replacement. I can, draft. What's Derwin's per year? Yeah, right. Okay. Really would be nice if we win the Super Bowl this year, because our this rebuild's about to have a rebuild within a rebuild. All right, $287 million is all it took for Herbert. All it took. And now we have David Bailey, who getting just... But why is this contract so weirdly built? Whatever. He's back. He needs to get more than 6 sacks or whatever the hell he had last year. So year 5, we are, at least offensively, firing on all cylinders. Now, losing to the Raiders, kind of annoying, but the first team was out of place. You almost just view that as resting our stars. We have a 95 overall offense. All the rankings are great. Defensively, if we lose, I'm going to blame it on them. Let's just put it that way. Justin Herbert, I mean, he's getting up there in age now. We just paid him a lot of money. And I expect probably a little bit better than that. But 6 rushing touchdowns. So, I mean, 37 total touchdowns. Again, that's really good. Ashton Jeanty continues to be the focal point of this offense. 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey is just automatic at that price point. Defensively. Oh, there we go. Bailey, there's the return on investment. Bailey played well. Farmer, who we re-signed, played well. Tui Pelotu, we have under contract, played well. Ingram Dawkins, about to hit free agency. I mean, he's cashing out. But the sack numbers are back up again, so I'm happy with that. Interception, Xavier Brown with 4 picks. Love seeing that. But overall, I guess interceptions are down a little bit. Max Rhodes, our first round pick, barely played, but when he did, he got his 1 pick. I don't know if we know his dev trait yet. Very close. We'll probably find out during this playoff run. And we close with a decent amount of hard work coming back to the Chargers. Ashton Jeanty is running back of the year. Ladd McConkey is wide receiver of the year. And David Bailey wins linebacker of the year. Talent has never been an issue. I think really, year 1, where we go 12-5, go to the Super Bowl, probably weren't really ready to compete and realistically win a Super Bowl. But I think the last 2 years definitely have maybe the best roster in the league. It's been us underperforming. Anytime you have a 95 offense, you should be and have expectations to go on a run. But now we got the 9-8 Colts, who have really good defense. Give them credit where credit's due. We've just been very inconsistent in the playoffs. Have yet to get hot. Have yet to get on a heater. That could be the beginning of a heater. 41-10 over the Colts. 3 touchdowns from Justin Herbert, Offensive Player of the Week. 2 picks by Henley, Defensive Player of the Week. I think I saw we're taking on the Jags. Weird, man. Rebuilt the Jags last video. Feel like they never made the playoffs. Now they're just like, we know how good they could be, and it just feels like they're that good. Look at their defense. I know who hired our defensive coordinator, it feels like. That is, I mean, this is not an easy matchup. But you look at the talent between these two rosters. If the Jags play their best game and the Chargers play their best game, there should be only one winner and only one team moving on to the conference championship. But we have 1 playoff win in the last 3 years. 2 now, I guess, with that Colts win. So, I mean, there's just not a lot of confidence this team can go on a run. But our offense, our 95 overall offense is playing like a 95 overall offense. 41 points in the wild card. 38 points in a win in the division round. Ashton Jeanty, 74 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns, 56 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown. Good God, take a bow. How did Justin Herbert play? Because I feel like we need that consistency at quarterback. I don't think it's going to be a running back popping off that's going to help us win a Super Bowl here. So, I mean, you can pick the argument. Trevor Lawrence out-dueled Herbert, but no interceptions, no turnovers, protected the football. That is winning football. Ladd McConkey, decent showing. Defensively, Henley has had a hell of a run. We got a sack from the nose tackle. But defense not popping off, and now we welcome the 1 seed, the Buffalo Bills, to knock out the Ravens, which is not particularly easy. And I imagine the rankings are pretty good. Yeah, look at that. Number 9 in points scored. Number 6 in passing yards. Number 5 overall defense. We know that Bills defense is a mother frigger. I just picked my kid up from school. I'm in that mindset. No cuss words. So they got a very good defense, very good offense. They are more balanced than us, but I think it is fair to say that we have more star talent, as they are 88s across the board, which is very good. But we are 93 over. Like, this is obviously one of our strongest teams. And there's a reason why this is one of our strongest teams, because it's about to be blown up back-to-back off seasons where we lose all of our freaking players. So, can we get to the Super Bowl again against Seattle? Well, we got weekly award, which doesn't mean anything. But when you get both the weekly award winners, 3 touchdowns from Justin Herbert, we got McDonald with an interception. Usually that means you won. I think there's been maybe a time or two, though. We've got offensive and defensive player of the week and still took the L. Oh, wasn't even close. Our offense has been averaging what? 35 points a game during this playoffs. Finally not letting us down. And again, you can make the argument the other quarterback kind of outperformed us, but turned the ball over where Justin Herbert, the veteran now, the savvy veteran, has got back to his second Super Bowl. We've got 3 rushing touchdowns. A little concerned with the passing offense. Feel like we're going to need that to show up at some point. The fact that just, not a typo, no sacks. We did get the pick by Jelani McDonald. We did get 1 TFL, but, I mean, making the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl, 2 different things. We know that from year 1. And I think the fact of the matter is, very concerned that my defense is not making plays. It's been a minute since we've won a Super Bowl where it hasn't been complimentary football, where both the offense and the defense show out. But, I mean, again, on paper, 91 overall defense. If they could just give us a little bit of juice against a Seattle team that is very well balanced, top 10 offense, #1 defense in the league as far as points allowed per game. Getting a look. So we know, you got Witherspoon. They probably still got DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker. They got Quinn Ewers as their quarterback. Kenneth Walker's a 99. They got JSN, Zakaria Branch, Khalil Shakir, still a veteran. The savvy DK Metcalf. Superstar tight end, 90, 84, 86, 91. So right tackles, they're only kind of liability on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they got Winieri, who's a 91. Byron Murphy's a 92. Nolan Smith, 89. Ernest Jones is a 90. Secondary, oof. How are they not, equal to us, roster-wise? Tier 5, so we are going to give our chance the 3 times to hop in if we need to. It's been a minute since we've had a rebuild within a rebuild. It's not going to be an all-out rebuild if we lose. We have to go into year 6. But, anytime, for me, for a content creator's sake, if I lose this, what day's today? Thursday? This video, I can't upload this today, right? I'm going to have to go to another year. It might go 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. So it'd be nice to get out of here, as the kids say it, with a win. But if not, hey, I also, you know what, in the same regard of, I'd like to get this video today. If it goes into, a mini rebuild within a rebuild, and, we start facing Justin Herbert's regression, and there's going to be no more Derwin James next season. It's been a minute since I've had to take a step back in one of these realistic. I don't think we actually, maybe once, we had to, I feel like with the Giants, we had to kind of retool things midway through. But everything else has been relatively smooth sailing. We're due for a little bit of turbulence, but I will absolutely hop in if need be to see if we can get this one across the line, because sitting here, year 5, look at the ratings, 93, 95, 91. Give me my Super Bowl. I've built the best team. Please give me what I've earned. All right, let's do this, man. Tell me what I've learned over the 10 years I've been rebuilding teams on YouTube is that being good and simming good, 2 very different things. On paper, our team is excellent. S tier. Simming, well, we're about to find out. We got 3 opportunities, boop, to hop in if we need to. I hope we don't have to have our fingers all over this. I'd love to see my juggernaut team handle business. That's a great response. Seattle marches down the field, scores 2 straight times. Look at that, converting a couple 3rd downs. Oh, and then there's just a 73-yard interception. Are you kidding me? Come on. Get in there and tie this one up. We got to settle for a field. Oh, we don't. Go for it on 4th down because we know we need to score a touchdown. 14-14 in the 4th quarter. Seattle is driving. They score. 3 minutes. Drive of your life. Trevor Lawrence, we will come in after getting sacked. 4th and long. Double post right before the 2-minute warning. Where's Ladd McConkey? In the slot, where we need him. They have Witherspoon matched up. It is best on best. Boom. He does. I'm not celebrating because we scored too early. We scored way too early. They're punting it. What? They punted that? That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. They had three timeouts. It was under, what, the 2-minute warning. And they... I've never seen that. Put that up in the Hall of Fame. The dumbest sim decision I think I've ever seen. Punted it. Fourth, I mean, they were deep in their own territory. You had 3 timeouts. You have a defensive head coach, trusts his defense, yada, yada, yada. What? Oh, thank God. We go on a 4-0 playoff run. Year 5 Super Bowl win. Deserve it. Feels like we don't deserve it, but honestly, if we're simming all the realistic rebuilds we've done so far, simming every single one, this might be our strongest team on paper. I think you can at least make the argument that it might be our strongest team on paper. If we had to give out a Super Bowl MVP, probably not our quarterback. Probably not Jeanty either. I mean, Ladd scored the go-ahead. I'm annoyed that I had to score that, if I'm being honest. And this, you know what, though? This is why I want to be done with this rebuild. Because I lost my coordinator. And then whatever happens in this game right now, when you lose an offense or defense coordinator, and then your team just sucks on that side of the football, I'm over my defense. It's just been this. It's been this every game. It's like, oh, nothing, and nothing. We're just getting lots of cardio on the defensive side of the ball. MVP, screw it. He's only a lad. Cue up the Oingo Boingo. In hindsight, I'm very glad we won that Super Bowl. I did, with the defense, with the salary cap, with how the team was shaping up. Not in the mood for that rebuild right now. So very, very thankful that Mr. Justin Herbert able to get that Super Bowl. Second appearance, second time was the charm. Hopefully it's the same for Jalen Hurts in a couple weeks' time for my Philadelphia Eagles in real life. But as always, I would like to wrap the rebuilds looking at the stats. Who accomplished what? Justin Herbert, 41,000 yards passing, 307 touchdowns, 87 interceptions. Very good ratio. I think it's fair to say, like, hot and cold throughout this rebuild was Justin Herbert, but overall, good enough, I think is a fair way to say it. Like, never really played like a true MVP candidate, but had some strong years in there for sure. Ashton Jeanty, from when I drafted him, not knowing if it was the right decision, gambling that this Harbaugh offense would sim and let the running back thrive and eat. That's exactly what we got. 7,200 yards, 93 touchdowns in 5 seasons. Certainly on a Hall of Fame pace. Receiving, Ladd McConkey, exceptional. Back-to-back rebuilds. Jags rebuild the other day with Brian Thomas. This rebuild with Ladd McConkey, dominant. 7,800 yards, 89 touchdowns. Quentin Johnson was a good role player for us. Maybe Jeanty, if it was a little more realistic, would get involved in the pass game. He's a true weapon on that side of the ball. Derwin James. Man, I'm old. I remember he was coming out of Florida State. I was like, this guy is like as good of a safety prospect as I've ever seen. He's a blueprint. Like, next time there's an S-tier safety, they're going to get compared to him. How do you stack up against Derwin James? That's what people are talking about. You know, we got Caleb Downs in college right now for Ohio State. Like, he's in that conversation. But Derwin was awesome. Just did everything. We got 79 TFLs, 50 sacks from Tui Pelotu. David Bailey, 37 TFLs, 48 sacks. As good of a pick, arguably, as Ashton Jeanty, being able to hit those home runs. You know, Jeanty comes in as the game changer on the offense. David Bailey comes in after we trade Joey Bosa. And, hey, he was pretty damn good, all things considered. Interception numbers were solid throughout this rebuild. Henley developed into an X factor. I mean, happy with things, how things turned out, honestly. So there you go, fellas. The most requested rebuild done. Very lucky that we got out of this one, year 5 with that Super Bowl. Because, again, if we go forward like this, you know, Becton's going to be gone. Does Slater get a second contract, right? Like, do we pay Jeanty? Justin Herbert's regression? Like, our salary cap is tight as it is already. And the defense was getting ready to face major turnover. But I think at the end of the day, the way that we developed this team, the way that we drafted, the way that we made, I think, smart roster decisions, knowing who to keep, who to get rid of, regardless of if it was something that was, you know, ideal. I think we handled it appropriately. So I hope you guys did enjoy this Chargers rebuild. As always, let me know in the comment section below which team you want to see me rebuild next. I will do the most requested team. Hit that like button for the YouTube robots. Subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.